Macca's Guides.
Hey guys, Macca here with a video about Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Now, excuse my voice, I am in the middle of a pretty bad cold, but hopefully we'll get back to normal soon. Recently, I got the chance to play Shadow of the Tomb Raider for about a full hour at a Montreal reveal event, and I'd like to thank Square Enix and Xbox for inviting me out and covering my travel and hotel. Now, at the event, we got a small presentation about the game, and then we got a chance to sit down and play it. And that's what this video is going to be about, my hands-on impressions with the game. Now, unfortunately, we weren't allowed to capture any gameplay, so instead I'll be sharing screenshots and the trailer with you guys as I talk about the game. Now, to give you guys a little bit of context as to the part of the game I was playing, it was right near the beginning of the game, about 15 minutes in. Just to give a little bit more information, this game is the sequel to Rise of the Tomb Raider, and it is the third game in the kind of reboot of the Tomb Raider series. Additionally, as far as I could tell, we were playing on Xbox One X dev kits. Now, this installment in the series has a heavy focus on Mayan culture, and right as I started the demo, the first thing that kind of caught my eye was a notice on screen that said that the game was made with historical and cultural experts that were overseeing the project to kind of make sure everything fit, which I thought was pretty cool. Now, once the actual demo started up, I had a short cutscene that kind of reintroduced the characters and their relationship with Trinity, which is the evil corporation that essentially has set out to destroy the world through the use of a powerful Mayan artifact. And fans will be happy to know that Camila Luddington is returning as Lara Croft. The setting of the demo was a Day of the Dead style celebration at a street market with these colorful masks and candles, and it gave a really great sense of atmosphere. Now, once I actually loaded into the game, the first obvious thing to note were the graphics. And Rise of the Tomb Raider was easily one of the best looking games of recent years, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider doesn't disappoint either. From a quick look, both games seem to hit the same level of graphical fidelity, with obvious attention to detail in both the character models and the environment. However, based on what I played, Shadow of the Tomb Raider seemed to take a much more dark and gritty approach to their styling compared to previous entries. Next up was the kind of combat tutorial of the game, and I was taught how to use stealth and how to use the environment to my advantage. And from what we were told during the presentation, this game has a much larger focus on Lara mastering her environment and becoming one with the jungle, and from what I experienced, this ended up being quite true. I ended up using tall bushes, I ended up leaning against vines on walls in order to blend in with my surroundings before going in for a stealth takedown. And then I was even able to use my survival instincts to kind of scan the areas for enemies, and I could plan my attacks accordingly. And all of this felt very familiar, and it was obvious to me that I was playing a Tomb Raider game. The stealth was very rewarding, and using my bow to get headshots was very satisfying. However, there was a particular section where I was rushed by some enemies, and I was forced to use guns, and I felt as though the gunplay was a little bit weak. I definitely felt that there was some room for improvement with the cover mechanics and controls in my opinion, but hopefully they can make some adjustments before the final release. After the combat tutorial, I stumbled into my first tomb, and it was just me against the environment, and again, this felt very familiar to me. I knew that I was definitely playing a Tomb Raider game. It was a combination of discovery, danger, and puzzle solving, with like optional loot and collectibles scattered about. I think the major changes here in focus appear to be with the scale of the tomb, which seemed to be much larger than previous entries, as well as a new focus on spending time underwater, which is directly linked to the Mayan setting. Now, I was pretty skeptical about having more underwater sections when they first mentioned it in the presentation, but after giving it a try myself, I was pleasantly surprised. They managed to incorporate them without it feeling forced or without it limiting the gameplay. The swimming controls were pretty responsive, and the movement through the water felt like a natural extension of Lara as a character. Last but not least, after completing the tomb, there was a action-packed escape sequence, which was pretty well designed, and then the demo ended with a pretty emotionally driven cutscene to kind of further set up the story, although I don't want to give away too much. The dialogue between the characters was very believable, and out of everything I tried, I think the biggest progression in the series is in this aspect, the storytelling and the atmosphere. Nonetheless, after an hour with the game, I'm very excited for more in the series, and I'm interested to find out what Laura's defining moment as a Tomb Raider is. I was very pleasantly surprised by the level of polish for a demo of a game that is still 6 months out, and hopefully Square Enix has some actual gameplay videos to share right around E3. Thank you guys so much for watching and putting up with my sick voice. If you're interested in pre-ordering the game and getting 20% off, I've included some Amazon links in the description. A special thanks to the amazing people on Patreon for supporting the show. You can also check out Cupcake on Mixer if you so desire. And hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Peace.